Start with slightly ominous, intriguing music. You think you know Spider-Man, right? The friendly neighborhood hero swinging through New York City with a quippy one-liner and a heart of gold. He saves the day, gets the girl, and always does the right thing. But what if I told you that across the infinite expanse of the multiverse, not every spider wears a smile? What if, in some shadowed corners of reality, the hero we love became the monster we fear? Today, we're diving deep into the web of darkness to uncover the most terrifying, tragic, and twisted versions of Spider-Man you've never seen before. These aren't your friendly neighborhood heroes. Some lost everything they held dear. Some gave in to their darkest impulses, and some became the very evil they once swore to fight against. So buckle up, because things are about to get grim. This is a journey into the heart of the Spider-Verse's greatest nightmares. Let's begin. Our first stop is a story of death and a terrifying rebirth. Spider-Man the Other. Imagine this. During a brutal battle with the vampiric villain Morlun, Peter Parker dies. It's a heroic sacrifice, the end of an era. But it's not the end of his story. Deep within him, a primal force, the Great Weaver or the Other, awakens. His body doesn't just heal, it transforms. He cocoons himself beneath the Brooklyn Bridge, and when he emerges, he's single quotes us ... different. He's no longer just a man with spider powers. He is reborn as a true hybrid, part spider, part man, a living embodiment of the predator totem. He can now organically produce webbing from his wrists, communicate with arachnids, and feel the vibrations of his prey through the web of life itself. Gone are the days of just sensing danger. Now he hunts it. He grows stingers from his arms, sharp and deadly. His senses are heightened to a feral level. Villains who once mocked him now whisper his name in fear. He's faster, stronger, and far more ruthless. This isn't the Peter Parker who pulls his punches. This is a predator at the top of the food chain, and the dark alleys of New York have just become his hunting ground. He's a hero, yes, but one who walks the razor's edge between man and beast. Now, let's rewind the clock and travel to a world drenched in shadow and sin. Welcome to the Great Depression, the gritty, rain-slicked streets of 1930s New York. This is the world of Spider-Man noir. Here, Peter Parker isn't a nerdy high school student. He's a hardened, cynical investigator driven by a thirst for social justice in an unjust world. Raised by his activist Aunt May and Uncle Ben, he learned early on that the world is run by corrupt men, by gangsters like Norman Osborn, the Goblin. When a mystical spider grants him powers, he doesn't see it as a gift. He sees it as a weapon. This Spider-Man doesn't swing in broad daylight, cracking jokes. He stalks the shadows, clad in black leather and a trench coat, a spectre of vengeance. And he doesn't rely on gadgets. He relies on guns. A revolver is as much a part of his arsenal as his webs. When he finally corners the man who murdered his Uncle Ben, he doesn't web him up for the cops. There's no due process. No moral debate. He delivers his own brutal brand of justice. No mercy, no smiles, just pure, cold vengeance. In this city of shadows, Spider-Man isn't a hero. He's a terrifying urban legend, whispered by the criminals he hunts. From the morally grey, we descend into the utterly horrific. Prepare yourself for Zombie Spider-Man. In the universe of Marvel Zombies, a plague from another dimension infects Earth's mightiest heroes. It's a hunger, an insatiable, horrifying hunger for living flesh. When this virus reaches Peter Parker, he fights it. Oh, how he fights it. He's the hero we know and love, struggling with every fiber of his being to resist this monstrous craving. But the hunger is too strong. It wins it. The first people he turns on are the ones he loves most. He goes home, and there he devours Aunt May and Mary Jane Watson. The comic panels show him mask torn, tears streaming down his face even as he succumbs to the plague. The man is gone, but the guilt remains, a ghostly echo in a monstrous shell. He sobs, "It hurts so much. But I can't stop." Now he's a shambling horror, a shadow of the hero he once was, driven only by that endless, gnawing instinct. The world's greatest hero, the one who always protected the innocent, has become its hungriest nightmare, a constant tragic reminder of how even the purest souls can be corrupted. But what if the monster wasn't a virus, but a villain hiding in plain sight? This brings us to one of the most controversial and brilliant Spidey stories ever told, The Superior Spider-Man. In his final moments, a dying Dr. Octopus pulls off the ultimate heist. He swaps his mind with Peter Parker's. Otto Octavius is now in Peter's body with all his powers, memories, and his entire life. And Peter is trapped, a powerless ghost in his own mind, forced to watch as his greatest enemy lives his life. Otto, now believing he can be a better Spider-Man than Peter ever was, calls himself the superior Spider-Man, and in some ways he is. He's more efficient, more strategic, and far more brutal. He builds an army of Spider-Bots to patrol the city. He doesn't just stop criminals, he maims them, punishes them with a cold, calculating fury. He's a Spider-Man who believes the ends justify any means. To the public, he's a more effective, if terrifying, hero. But behind the mask, it's a villain playing pretend. A narcissist convinced of his own genius. And all the while, the real Peter Parker is screaming unheard, as his legacy is twisted into something cold and unrecognizable. It's a psychological horror story where the hero becomes his own prison guard. Let's leap forward far into the future to the year 2099. Welcome to New York, a neon-drenched dystopia run by megacorporations. Here we meet Miguel O'Hara, Spider-Man 2099. Miguel is no friendly neighborhood hero. He's a brilliant, arrogant geneticist working for the corrupt Alchemax Corporation. When he tries to escape his contract, his boss sabotages him, lacing his genetic rewrite procedure with spider DNA, hoping to kill him. Instead, it transforms him. Miguel O'Hara is a fundamentally different kind of Spider-Man. He doesn't have a sense. He has hyperacute vision and hearing. He doesn't have sticky fingers. He has razor-sharp talons on his hands and feet that can shred steel. And most terrifyingly, he has venomous fangs. This Spider-Man is a creature of science gone wrong, a predator in a high-tech jungle. He fights against the corporate overlords that control his city, but he's not driven by responsibility in the same way Peter was. He's driven by anger, guilt, and a desperate need to fix the broken world he helped create. To the oppressed citizens of Nueva York, he's a ghost, a legend. But to his enemies, he's a monster, a fanged demon that stalks the futuristic skyline. But if you think that's dark, you haven't met Patton Parnel. This isn't just a dark version of Spider-Man. This is a complete perversion of everything he stands for. In his reality, on Earth 51,412, Patton isn't a good person corrupted by power. He was a disturbed young man from the start, a social outcast. He was secretly a sociopath who enjoyed torturing small animals and spying on his neighbor Sarah Jane. His Uncle Ted tried to guide him, but the darkness in Patton was already too deep. Then came the spider. During a lab visit at Alcorp, he's bitten by a radioactive spider, but it doesn't grant him a noble purpose. It unleashes the monster within. He doesn't become a hero. He becomes a predator in the most literal sense. His powers manifest in a grotesque, horrifying way. He develops an insatiable hunger and begins to feed on animals. And then people. He bites his own uncle, infecting him. He cocoons his classmates in his web-filled lair, not to save them, but to watch them suffer, to feed on them later. He becomes a swarm of thousands of spiders wearing human skin. He is so utterly monstrous that when the Inheritors, cosmic vampires who hunt spider totems across the multiverse, find him, even they are disgusted. They don't hunt him for sport. They simply erase him, an act that feels less like a hunt and more like putting down a rabid animal. From the tragic to the twisted, from the monstrous to the malevolent, these dark reflections of Spider-Man show us a chilling truth. Across the endless possibilities of the SpiderVerse, they serve as a constant reminder that the line between hero and monster is terrifyingly thin. They prove that with great power doesn't always come great responsibility. Sometimes, with great power, comes the greatest darkness. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into the shadows of the Spider-Verse. Which of these dark Spider-Men do you find the most terrifying? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this journey into the unknown, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next exploration of your favorite heroes. See you next time.